today going to be having a conversation I'm really excited about. I think a lot of people are going to be into. Before we get into the actual conversation, though, I want to introduce my friend and my co-host of Align Family and all around awesome human being, Bro Delagrassi, aka Mama Moody. Say what's up.
What's up? What's going on? We're here. We
We
made it.
we're, we're here, and it's funny because obviously we were deciding what the topic was going to be, and I felt like we've done some conversations about sort of like marriage and how you deal with your kids and how do you deal with your stuff while you're dealing with your kids, and I was like, also though, we are people. You're a person.
Yep.
I'm a person.
Yep.
And as people, we, we too have to take care of our needs. And so I was like, I want to talk about self-care, but I don't want to talk about it just like, I mean, it's fine if mani pedi is, and by the way, I get manicures, so that's not meant to be in any way insulting. And I recommend it highly. It's very cool, actually, to be treated like that. But anyway, but it doesn't have to be mani pedi. How are we taking care of ourselves, and like, what does that even mean? And when we're not, what do we do about it? Like, I really want to dig into this because I'm guessing that there's some percentage of parents out there, and you may be among them, who sometimes feel like there is no room in my life for me.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's also a eh, you know, I think everybody has different ways that they do it because I know people that have very much like they stayed dating their spouses, they've done all that stuff, and I've always um well, I mean, I'm an Al-Anon, so I mean, putting people ahead of myself is just in my nature.
Right, right,
You know,
right.
I'm either spying or saving, you know?
Ooh, see, I don't know all this language, so feel free to dig on in because I'm fascinated, and it's obvious to me that Al-Anon, from all our conversations, has had an incredible impact in your
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
So feel free, because what, spying or saving? Like, that sounds fascinating. Go, just go.
Well, it's like so when you talk about like not like self-care, that's
Right.
literally the crux of the program. It's like the program. Al-Anon is a 12-step program for friends and family members of alcoholics. I often have heard it referred to as the beverage patrol program. So but the thing is, it tells you that
Mm.
you cannot save another person, you cannot control somebody's drinking or addiction or anything.
Right.
But as I go into this next phase or season of my life,
Mm-hmm.
you go into it going, I can't save anybody. I went in there trying to save my brother. 20 years later, I haven't saved him.
Right.
But
Right.
it focuses a lot on like you can't control somebody's drinking or their addiction, but you also can't control somebody's feelings and how they change towards you in a relationship.
Mm.
So, like I can't convince, my now husband, or
Yeah.
soon to be husband,
Right.
um, to want to change his mind. And you said it was a switch that flipped, so flip it back.
Right. Right. Right.
The hell? What do you mean?
Right.
If it's a
Right.
if it's a switch, just flip it. You
Yeah.
can't do that for people. And I think something like this, for me personally, shows me exactly how much I didn't do self care.
Mm.
That's put a spotlight like, oh, you've literally put I mean, naturally, I think as parents, kids come first
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we're good parents, right? But you really start to see like, oh, I really put myself like
Yeah.
back burner. And
Yeah.
how do I now step back into myself? And to be honest, we're both from New York. So, my first thought's like, I'm gonna try not to curse, but girl, remember who the F you are.
Yeah.
But also there's a sadness and a
Right.
heartbreak. So I don't want to tough it out and buck up.
Yeah.
But part of you has to because you have kids involved
Yes.
and you're on your own now. And of course, we're still in the beginning stages, but realizing my future going forward is not me and him building more. It's
Right.
he's walking away. So now that self-care is not, I think it's great that you get manicures because I haven't gotten a manicure, and why the F have I? I should, right? But
Yes, you
the
absolutely should.
self-care comes in the spiritual and the mental health as well. And how am I going to, I think self-care personally is believing that I'm going to be okay
Oh wow, I
in
like that.
in a world that feels very unstable, outside and inside. So that
Yeah,
self-care really has to go. Like today I meditated for like
yeah.
10 minutes. Can I tell you, did I think of 100 different things? Yeah. One of them I think
Sure.
was a fight with him. One of them was um something with the kids. But I
Right.
have to sit in that space and go, yeah, but we need to go back to remembering we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
So by the
Yeah.
time I got through that meditation, I was like floating in the clouds, like we're just going to fly in the clouds. And now we're back. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But discovering those insights, like, oh, that's another trauma I did not heal yet. Oh,
Yeah.
now I throw abandonment in there. Okay, well,
Mm,
didn't have abandonment on the card before, but 10 years after our marriage, now I got
mm-hmm.
abandonment. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to take that on as an identity. I just have to
Right.
go, oh, that's a feeling. And I have to work through that feeling, you know.
It's funny because you've obviously done a lot of work, and that can sound so pretentious, but I'm gonna use the word I mean, right?
Hmm.
You've obviously done a lot of work, and the language you use, but also there's a way you talk about this that resonates for me
Hmm.
because I think, like me, how do I put this? Well, I'm just gonna put it how I put it, and it might be a little it might ruffle a few feathers with that, but to me, it's not so I can sound wise
Hmm.
at a party
Yeah.
and I hear you really talking about and there are different ways this word gets used, but integrating these things into your real life and being because you're navigating this stuff in real time. And when
Hmm.
you talk about the abandonment, right? Um, I think it's so powerful the way you just put that like telling yourself or not even telling yourself, believing that it is going to be okay
Hmm.
is self-care. Like that's a step that and I just never thought of it that way.
Hmm.
But I was just sharing with you before you started recording. I just feel like I've had like an artistic slash personal breakthrough recently,
Hmm.
but especially yesterday. And part of it was me saying to me, as
Hmm.
crazy as that sounds,
Yeah.
we good.
Yeah.
We good. I'd never said that to me before. I heard myself say that, and I'll be sharing some version of this down the line. I'm not ready to share it yet. It's a work in progress, so you're not shared it with you, bro. But I don't know that I ever so honestly said we good. I've been hopeful or optimistic. I've been headed toward a goal. We're gonna be okay,
Hmm.
or like you say, the tough it out, right? Like
Yeah.
I do excellent tough it out.
Oh,
I take such pride.
yeah.
Sometimes I
Same.
really have to be like, that's insane, brother. Like, like the fact, like you take way too much pride in the beating you can take. Like that is not. That is. Come on now. Like, there's other things to be proud of.
Yeah.
But I like that you're saying no, no, not just to tough it out. Like, just no, just sitting here right now.
Hmm.
We good. We
Hmm.
good.
Hmm.
That's so that's so liberating. And if
Hmm.
I don't think if people, part of what brought us together on talking about these things, and I know I'm kind of like going up, but it really hit me. Part of what brought us together was talking about like, well, how do you manage when you got all this stuff going on that you're trying to deal with so you can be better, but in the meantime, while you're supposed to be being better, you're dealing with all this.
Oh my God.
And
I know.
we good is huge.
Yeah. The fact that you could say that, first of all, I truly believe you and I are like twins. We are
We
like,
said that. We've said that like since the comedy days. It's so funny, but yeah,
yeah, because I have like a post that comes up on our Facebook memory of you and me, like literally, like our hair, like we had glasses, we were like
yeah,
twins, right?
yeah. It was hilarious. Yeah, I remember
And
that picture.
and sometimes I think friends like connect in other dimensions because I really truly believe that we've had other lifetimes here, right? But
Hmm.
uh, honestly, like you and I have both, and maybe it is a New York thing, like working since we were like teenagers. And I know I've
Yeah.
shared this, we like literally putting, answering an ad in the penny savers and having big fat trucks picking me up. But when I say like, because my kids were asking me, they were like, how long have you worked? Like they were asking me the other day, how long have you worked for? And I was like, oh my God, I've been trying to make money since I was like
Oh,
13, you know?
try to make money predates like official job. Like it was illegal. Like, it was illegal for me to be making money, and I was still trying to make money. But yeah,
Exactly.
go ahead. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Exactly. And then I mean I did give them a little like insight today too of like, listen, I tell you all these things, like you don't take candy from somebody or your friends, or if you don't have a trusted adult, or even your friends, if they try and tell you keep it a secret and blah blah blah, like all
Right,
this stuff.
right. Mm-hmm.
And I said, listen, because I used to do all this stuff. I did drugs. Okay, I did drugs. And they're like, oh, wow, yeah, I did drugs. Okay, I pulled a
I
knife out
love
on
plural
people.
too, like
Yeah,
drugs. Just so we're clear.
yeah, drunk. And I pulled a knife out on people. I was a psychopath. And my son's like, you're a psychopath? I was like, yeah, mommy's a psycho. Okay? So I know.
Now let's
Like,
go to bingo night.
yeah, exactly. Now go have fun at school. Don't stab anybody. Like I honestly think the hustle, when we talk about the hustle,
Oh,
and
oh my god.
when we talk like I think sometimes, and I don't want to say I have a problem with it, but you hear all these people like, you guys got to work hard, you got to put in your 20 years. And when the thing that we sit here as maybe Gen Xers, maybe as New Yorkers, maybe as nothing labeled, maybe just as
Right.
you and I to
It's
coexist
two
as
people.
two,
Right, right.
we've done hustle. Like
Oh
I,
my god.
I've done hustle. I've
Oh
when
my
I
god.
you already know, like the out every single night, the working 12 hours, the going out, the hitting the stages, the 15 shows a week on top of working three doubles and 7 days a week. Like I know that hustle. I'm not scared of that. I'm not scared of work, but like we've done it and I'm still sitting here going, why have I not figured it out?
Yeah.
And but then also if I look back at it, man, I had a time. I had a great
Oh my
time.
god.
So I
Yes.
can't say maybe that was the lesson. Maybe that was the thing to like say, hey, Ro, you've done a lot. Maybe it's okay to just and then I could sit there and argue with myself. I go, okay,
Of
well we've
course.
done a lot, but we're not famous, and we're not this, and we're not okay. Well, maybe we weren't supposed to be, and maybe it wasn't supposed to be in that season, and maybe we were supposed to focus on this, and maybe right now you're supposed to focus on that. Like, why am I not satisfied with my life when I've lived a life? It wasn't. I've lived a life, and it's been amazing, and I'm still living a life, and it's still going to be amazing.
Right.
But I think because it wasn't that
Yes.
then all this then I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted and the burn and it's like, okay, but now I'm choosing that. Now I know I'm very well aware of what I can choose as
Yeah.
a choice and a perception of my life.
Right.
So now it's on me.
Yes. That's and that, whether you're talking about Marcus Aurelius or you're talking, I mean, like it does, like that point comes up in so many places. It comes up in popular music. It's like things are, and I'm not. Let me pause here because I think sometimes people bristle because they feel like my mom just died and this person's like telling me like
Mhm,
that's a blessing and I'm gonna stab them
mhm,
and I'm like you probably should stab them, that's not great. But I think what we can do, it's not like, oh, my mom died for the best so that I could, right, like I don't want to do that. But what I think we can do is say this is what is,
mhm,
and instead of what meaning does it have in itself that I'm deciphering, it's like what meaning am I going to give it? What
mhm,
meaning, right?
mhm,
So like, for folks who've watched this pillow, this is me at like 14 ish, and this is my cousin Fed Ming. We were very tight. He's maybe not 10 years old. I would have to check, but he's enough older that he was definitely my older cousin, but
Mm-hmm.
he was just one of these human beings who I you just have that thing. You just like
Mm-hmm.
we always got each other. When I used to go to
Mm-hmm.
Panama, like immediate, like first of all, most times he picked me up, so it wasn't even like oh when I got in. It was like when I landed, I started looking for his face, and
Mm-hmm.
then we would hang out. And then once I got older and I could go party and stuff, we were insane, like
Mm-hmm.
notoriously so. So like we just had this bond, and he died in January of 2020,
Oh,
and I mean, I made a sound when I got a text message, which I still go, why would you text me that? But anyway,
sorry.
that's a different conversation. But
Mhm.
I was like, really? Just hey, by the way, like really? Okay. But anyway, I made a sound. I don't even know what the sound was I made, but Daphne came running in the house.
Mm,
That's so whatever sound I made
yeah.
had enough in it for that. So just to give that context. And I've decided because I completely shorted out after that. If I'm
Mhm.
honest, I
Yeah.
could keep things going. You know what I mean? Like that's my tough it out stuff.
Yeah,
I could
for sure.
kind of like, but like I have been on some level running in
Survivor.
mud.
Yeah.
I feel like this whole like since he died, like
Mm,
specifically since he died, I've done better or worse, but I've been like trying to make the world feel right
mm,
or
mhm,
myself feel right in the world. And I decided probably about a year ago, I was going to thank him because if he hadn't died, I wouldn't have found out about my ADHD,
mm,
and that wouldn't have shorted me out. And I never would have stopped.
mhm,
I probably would have killed myself from sheer exhaustion.
mhm.
And there's
Yeah.
like other stuff I could get into about like this stuff called John Henryism, and there's different versions and blah blah blah. It sounds like you're discovering some of this for yourself. And I just decided like I had to, because that tripped me up so bad. It was like I had to go back and address everything.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like I think I could have like kept it going the way it was going, even
Mhm.
though it wasn't healthy or whatever. But it was functional. You know, I wasn't getting us kicked out of this place.
Yeah.
I wasn't like getting kicked out of bars. You know what I mean? Like I was keeping it.
Fine.
It was fine. People watch me from the outside. I was like, hey, he's a normal guy. Does whatever. Okay, great.
Yeah.
But once that hit, it was like, nah, this will no longer do.
Mhm.
And I really had to. And so for me, I owe him some of this. I owe him some of this breakthrough because it was the removal of him from my life, physically at least, that made me realize like this ain't gonna work.
Mm,
You
mhm.
know, um, and I think so. I say all that, and that's longer than I expected to talk. But I say all that because I think sometimes we give up our power. We just like release it, and we have the power to decide. Like you've decided, right? For you, this is not what you would have chosen 6 months ago. If I said to you, "Hey, I've got an idea," you'd have been like, no."
Mhm.
But this is where we are now.
Yeah.
And when I hear you say, "Okay, that made me see this, made me see that," I'm going to
Mhm.
focus on this. I'm going to step into who I am. I'm going to remember who I am. To me, I hear I'm deciding
Mhm.
what this means.
Yes. And also though there is something that I want to point out that I think it's also in accepting the reality of a situation,
100%.
because there is denial, and
Yes, I am
people
familiar.
stay closed and asleep in denial. And, I mean, I mean, I know my mom tries to, like, I guess, give me some kind of, I don't know, commiserating she's like, there's the woman that her husband cheated on her, and then she just denied him a divorce. She just refused, and then they got back together. And I'm like, okay, that's fantastic. Correct.
I love that. That's like there's still hope.
Yeah, very hopeful. Thank you.
Have you
um
considered zip tying him? Have you considered just zip tie him and throw him in the basement? He
you know
can't divorce you if
holding
he's zip tied in the basement.
holding him hostage was not a tactic, I thought. Thanks.
Thanks, mom.
Thanks, Mom. Thanks. Thanks. She also suggested I foreclose on the house so we can get more time. I'm like, okay,
What?
thanks, Mom. You know, that might fit in the full episode of the YouTube trailer, but
Right.
but really, like, no, okay. So
Oh God.
when I say like, there has to be, because it's uncomfortable. Because
Yeah.
it's uncomfortable to know that Um, I can go into a lot of different feelings on what I've been through in the past couple months with um uh not not being made aware of how he's felt, but I also have to look at it like, okay, well, so what now what? And that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that I don't get to have feelings or process them
Sure.
and
No.
stuff
No.
like
No.
that.
Yeah.
But also like, well, okay, you and we've talked about this, like, so you put all this out there, you've done all this, you've literally busted your ass to make this family, a house, a marriage, and he might have different opinions on that, like, well, you didn't take care of me a certain way, but whatever.
Right.
Whatever the case may
You
be,
definitely put in work. I mean, I don't think anybody could
right?
argue different than that. Yeah.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, he does not want to be married to me anymore. So that being said, I can sit here and go, now I have a choice. Right now,
Mm-hmm.
mind you, there's steps. We're gonna tell the kids next week. Then we're separating. We got to sell the house. We have to move it. There's a lot that could overwhelm me, which is overwhelming.
Yeah.
I'm at the very beginning of the stage, and actually, as we keep going with our, I will see how the stages go. But when
Yeah.
it comes down to it, where's my self-care?
Mm.
Because of course I'm focused on how are the kids going to react? How can I make it comfortable for them?
Mm-hmm.
How can I let them know
Mm-hmm.
it's not their fault? How am I going to navigate that grief process from? Well, what about how am I going to navigate my own grief process and my own, like, okay, Ro, what if this was a thing that happened as tragic as your person that you had, that you connected with, is gone, and it had to go, hey,
Mm-hmm.
Orlando, guess what? You're going to crash and burn, but you're not going to end up in a 5150 situation.
Yeah. Which, by the way,
Pros and
kind of
cons.
was on the table. Like
Yeah,
it really tripped me up.
listen, if you don't think I want to crash out, you know what a 5150 does? 72 hours of quiet. And I think you get meals. I think you get meals, and maybe you get to watch TV. I don't know.
But I mean, you say that and we laugh, but also like tell me that there aren't days where you're like, I don't know,
just crash
72 hours.
out. 72 hours. I think I sleep. I take a nap. I might get a little bored. Maybe they'll let me paint. I don't know. Can I draw? You know, I
Why
mean,
do we all picture painting? Every time I say it, I was like, I just want to do watercolors. Can I do watercolors for a couple months and just like, I just want to do watercolors. I know rich people get to go do watercolors. They're not
yeah.
gonna lie to me. I know that's a thing,
No,
and
I
I'm
know.
like, that's what I need. I need a good 2 months
Yeah.
of my biggest problem being my water is muddy and I have to change it out now
Yeah.
so that I don't
Yeah.
ruin my blues.
I need to
That's
make sure
that's
my
like that's
paint
what I want.
brushes are cleaned. Yeah, I think acrylics, maybe I might like different types of, you know, So when I say,
I might have a charcoal face. We'll see. We'll
you
see.
know what, you might, or also bedazzling, like we do a little like,
Bedazzling.
or glitter, you know. So I mean, how do
Bedazzling is great.
how do we? And also, look, I think that I hear in Al-Anon a lot. People go, "Well, I had to find out what my favorite color was." Or I didn't. There's different types of ways that you don't connect with yourself. I never had that because I did have a lot of time to myself. I
Right
did get to
before a
know
lot of this.
myself, right?
Hmm.
Before a lot of this. I think what happens, because I'm also, you know, my sign is a Cancer. I dive in.
Me
I want
too.
to, you too. We're both like nurturers by nature. That's right.
Hmm.
You're July 19th. No, wait, are you July 19th?
21st.
The 21st.
21st.
Um, I see how we're connected like that.
Hmm.
We are like twinsies. And literally, it's that diving in. I'm gonna take care of my partner. I want
Yeah.
to. I never like I wasn't like complain like I just took on the role. I'm gonna love my kids, and that's something I will never say. I love my kids too much. I don't care. I will make sure they are independent individuals, but I'm also
Right.
gonna love the crap out of them because they're gonna
Yeah.
know mom loves them. They're
Yeah.
gonna know they have a part like a parent that
Hmm.
has their back. I'm gonna hold them accountable, but I got their back.
Hmm.
Okay. And
Really important.
they're not gonna know this parts of our marriage like that they don't need to know about. Like,
Right.
there's certain things I'm like, how about we just make a box with memories for them that they can keep if they want? Like, because at first I was like, I'm gonna take every goddamn thing that's a picture of us, I'm gonna tear it up, I'm throwing the goddamn fire pit. No, no, no. Let's just put it in a box for them. Some things I'm
Yeah.
like, fuck this, I'm throwing out. But I'm saying like, I
Yeah.
gotta stop cursing. But when I say like,
I know. I'm. Yeah.
I'm like, but when I say like, how can, because self-care is really also part of it for me is learning how to self-regulate so I don't crash out,
100%. 100%. And
right?
that's been huge. Yeah.
That, yeah, because, and also
That's been
not in a
huge.
way that's destructive. Like I don't grab a bottle of wine
I
and
know.
drink the whole thing and take some pills. And I know addicts and alcoholics. I understand why they do. To be honest, personally, I understand why they do. I mean, when I
Oh
was
yeah.
pregnant with Jacob and I was getting induced, they actually gave me like fentanyl in the hospital because it was like part of like
Oh
the
wow.
induction. I think it, 'cause
Yeah.
somebody's like, you can only get 2 doses. I don't know if it was exactly fentanyl, but it might have been like something like that for the
Yeah.
pain.
Related. Yeah.
And when I tell you only 2 doses, that was it. That was all I could have.
Right.
And when I tell you, I remember specifically them just, they put it through an IV. When I tell you the feeling I got when it went in my body, it was like this. Life is good. Everything's amazing. I love this. This is amazing. Everything's
I love
amazing.
this. I know. I know. Listen, I probably have told you this story. It's funny you say it that way because I was hanging out with a bunch of comics back in the
Hmm.
day. And so we're out of, was it Springbok in Long Beach? Was that the name of
Oh,
that place?
well, there was a Springbok in Van Nuys, and I believe there's a Springbok, I think, in Long Beach.
And
There
I think
was.
because I think I used to hit the show there pretty regularly, the Long Beach one.
Mhm.
Anyway, whatever place it was. So we're hanging out, we're talking, and it gets to talking about drug stuff, and someone talks about, and I don't know how much you get tagged for this stuff. So somebody starts talking about putting powder in your nose,
Okay.
right? And I'm like, yeah, no, like
Mm-mm.
none for me, like period. And
Nothing.
and he goes, oh, don't be judgmental. And I was like, oh,
Oh,
no, you've got this all wrong. Judgmental. I was like, I would be an addict
mhm.
before it got to the back of my sinus. Let me
Yeah.
explain this to you.
Yeah.
Like, by the time it got to the back of my sinus, I'd be behind a dumpster doing whatever you ask. It's over for me. I was like, I can't. It's not. I think I'm better than you. Are you crazy? No, no, no. I think I'm the most vulnerable person maybe walking the earth. And there is, because yeah, I'm like, oh, I bet I would love it.
I'm
Oh,
sure.
what's that you say? Endless energy, confidence. Oh, I'm like, oh.
Hmm.
Like you have to know yourself well enough. And I'll just
Yeah.
throw this as not what we're talking about. I guess it is though self care too. You have
Yeah.
to know yourself well enough to know what you should do,
That was
and what
exactly
I
what I
shouldn't
was thinking.
do is that. Like
Yeah.
like that. I promise you, I can tell you exactly where that road leads. I do not have to walk
Yes.
it to find out.
Yes. That was me at like I knew I was like, something tells me we shouldn't do the little white. stuff at all. And also, by the way, tap into that, add that with me being cheap.
Oh
I was
yeah,
like,
no, and it's
oh
not. Yeah, that's not that's not
no,
it's
how
not
much?
easy on the pocketbook.
No,
That one.
I was like,
Yeah,
no,
no, which
I'm
is
sorry, you
great.
want how much money? No, excuse me, I am done doing drugs. I do not need drugs. Thank you. I do not like them. They're expensive. No, thank you. I was like, yeah.
In a lot of ways. In a lot
Mhm,
of so but- so on the piece that you touched on, I think I mean you hit so many things there, but one that you touched on was really being grounded in what is. Like this
mhm,
is what is going on right now.
yes.
And I know I you know, with the work we do and we have our who, one element of mine is honest. And
Hmm.
I've shared that with you. And for those who may be new to what we do, um, basically we want to align who you are, and where you want to go.
Hmm.
And so when we're talking about the who piece of you personally, it's usually like 3 to 5 characteristics, adjectives that if you were most likely to get to where you want to go, that's
Mm,
how you would have to show up. And one of mine is honest.
I
And
like that.
honest, it for me, as I define it, we define it, is the decision to live in reality,
Yes, that's great.
right? Because I can, you know what I mean? Like either I can know what reality kind of is and lie to you. That's
Hmm.
dishonest.
Hmm.
I can ignore reality, right, and live a lie. That's dishonest. Like I think it's like when I'm like, no, we're gonna do reality.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. That's what's happening now. And earlier when you said, you know, when you compare to this life that never happened, I
Hmm.
do a ton of that, as you could guess, or have.
Hmm.
I'm doing it a lot less these days, which I'm very thankful for. And I came up with something about that I don't know. Tell me what you think of it or react to it. I'm not there, and it hit me one day when I was driving that when I'm driving someplace, like I will race the GPS time. Like if it says it'll get me there in 20 minutes. All of a
Hmm.
sudden, the only thing that matters in my life is that I'm going to get there in 15 minutes. Why? Because I'm insane. Because I'm insane.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what is that? Like, what? Who cares? What are you doing? Like, what is that? Right? So, anyway, but it hit me that my experience is in every moment I'm driving, I'm not there. I want to be there,
Mm.
and I'm
Hmm.
not there. Right. So that's a place of frustration, disappointment, whatever, because I'm not there.
Hmm.
And instead of saying be present, which is, you know, sort of the straightforward way to say it, for me, the double negative maybe like that's memorable, it doesn't sound like what I've heard 1,000 times, but when I say I'm not there, it brings me back here. It brings me back to, but this is where we actually are. Do I
Hmm.
think I'm funnier than some people? I just say it like I mean it, and I definitely would say this about you. I'll just say it about you. Do I think you are funnier than people I see with Netflix specials? I have seen you on stage. Like this
Hmm.
is not whatever. Like I'm like, yeah, like so and so's fine. I'm not here to insult anybody, but like
Yeah.
roast, you know, you've told jokes, and I've told you before, like it's not often I do like somebody's on stage and I throw my head back laughing. Like, you know, I've heard a lot of jokes. Like I'm like, oh, that's pretty funny. It's good. It's good. And like you, like a number of times I can remember just being like, rah! You know, so it can feel like these people out there living my life. That was supposed to be
Mhm.
my life,
Yes.
but they're not. They're really not. They're not. You're not there. You're here
Yeah.
with your kids and your experience and your
Hmm.
stories, right?
Hmm.
Like you'd be a totally different coach. I know I'd be a totally different
Hmm.
coach if some of the things I tried to do had worked,
Oh yeah.
because it was them not working that made me go, yeah, all this like you gotta believe, you gotta work hard. Like you do gotta believe and you do gotta work hard. But somewhere in there was a promise implicitly made that was you gotta believe, you gotta work hard, and then it'll work out for you.
Yeah.
And sometimes you believe and work hard,
Hmm.
it doesn't work out for you.
Yeah.
And then what? And I think
Hmm.
that's what you and I, in different places, specifically in our lives, but generally, I think that's part of what we've been to is like, then what?
I'll do lavender. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, I got a lemonade. Okay.
Nice,
Nice one.
nice.
Um,
Yeah,
well, you know what? I just had a thought though too when you were talking about that. Um, was that when you're like, oh, we wouldn't coach the way we do, and I'm like, well, shoot, I wouldn't even be a coach because I'd be living the high life. Like, oh my,
that's
I'm
right.
I'm $1,000 an hour, baby. Bye bye. Like like that's all ego, right? Like I'd
Yeah,
be like, oh, I wouldn't even have to coach if I had the life that I was supposed to have. Like
I
it's
know.
like,
But you know
well,
what? For me, at least, you know what I'm better at than anything? Coaching.
yeah.
And it's all I've ever done. And even, because I got to direct, this, but I got to direct Dinner for Two. That was 2018, which is sort of hard to believe us, geez, 8 years ago now. But anyway, that's crazy. But
Hmm.
I get to direct this movie, very important to me. And Daphne came to check us out on set. And I was like, so what'd you think? And she goes, you look just like you look when you're coaching the kids. And I realized, oh my God, that's right.
Uh-huh.
And I even had said to my producer, who is a very good friend, but who I've also done some coaching for, when we were going down there, I was like, I want to run an aligned set.
Mm.
And I didn't get into too many details. I was like, so like my meetings, when I first met with Glam, here, make whatever. I was like, okay, what makes your life easy? What makes your life hard? What can I do? What can I be doing to make it so you can do your best work? I did it with everybody. And I
Hmm.
was like, it really was me bringing how I think of sports coaching, how I think of all the other coaching to
Hmm.
this job. And it was like, my job is, I'm like a head coach, I'm whatever. My job is to help you do the best job you can possibly do for the next 3 weeks. Now, it happens that in this case, it serves me because I want to make a great movie.
Of
And if
course.
you guys are all unhappy and not doing a great job, my movie that I've been dreaming of is going to stink. But ultimately, in the moment, I was like, no, I want to take care of you. And I think that's relevant right now
Hmm.
because there's so much we run into that tells us that's right. You do this, and then that's the goal,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? So you do
Hmm.
stand up. You get a special. Back in the day, it's different now, but back in the day, you get your sitcom, you book,
Yeah.
right?
Just be funny. Just be
Some
funny.
right, yeah,
Something
just
real funny.
we got it.
Hmm.
But what if, again, with meaning we give things?
Mm.
What if part of our power is we know how to read an audience? Like stand up also made me a better coach
Hmm. Yeah.
because I can read a room like crazy. I always could read a room, but after doing stand up, I'm insane. Like I can be having a conversation here, I can be clocking the body language of two people over there. So and so is like hovering by the table but not eating. I don't know what that's about. Maybe they're uncomfortable. Like, and again, the meaning we give it. What if I just give that meaning every day in the coaching or in these situations, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
We've talked about we want to have the real conversation, but we want people to have fun with us like we have fun with each other. So we decided, yeah, if we joke around, we joke around, and we're gonna try not to curse. But if it's a choice between being our real selves and not cursing, we're gonna be our real selves and hope that YouTube doesn't crush us. But like maybe that's it's not like, oh, that was the meaning for me at least. It's like, oh, that was the meaning of doing stand up. It's like, no, I did stand up and this is where I am now. I'm not there. And right here, it's useful.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. What did they say? They said, was it Steve Martin had in his book, every skill you learn, you'll figure out, you'll use it somehow.
Yeah. And that's what I'm discovering. And I think for people like you and me, whether you want to call it polymath, people who have a lot of different interests, or just people who've
Hmm.
been through some things in life, I think it's hilarious that we've both worked as bartenders and
Yeah.
done stand up. And what? Like, I didn't even do those two things in the same season of my life. Like, what? Like, what? Like, sometimes when I list the things I've done,
I know.
I'm like, either people think you're a genius or a lunatic.
Yeah. No, I know.
Because
I thought
what
about it.
are you talking about? It's like, oh, I was named head coach of the Los Angeles women's football team. Also, I do coaching, stand up. I've directed a movie. I used to be a teacher. I'm like, dude, get a
I
hold of your life.
I had a job where I worked at an office where they used to convert 16 millimeter film to VHSs.
Like, right now, anybody, I would say for sure, anybody under 40 years old just said, what?
What?
Like, what did anything, like, it's not that I don't understand the sentence. I don't understand most of the words in the sentence. Like, let's start there. Like, 16 millimeter VHS. No, it's 100%. Can I tell you, I was in you talk about coaching, and maybe this is the self care that, or version of it that goes with what you were saying about will be okay, because it's allowing me to think about, like, you know what? Yeah, you were good at that. I was an SAT tutor.
Okay.
Um, Short version, I was just always really good at taking tests, so it made perfect sense. So I go over there, they hire me. So they start giving me these clients, but slowly but surely, I get my kids are, and I'm working with them, and I get looking back. I didn't do it consciously. It's just who I am. I was being Coach Orlando.
Hmm.
So I had deals worked out with them, and I'd be like, look, man, you don't enjoy this. I don't want to torture you. If we knock this out, we could just chill up here for like 20 minutes and talk about basketball. But we got to knock out the work.
Yeah.
Like, I can't, your parents ain't going to want to hear nothing else if this work ain't done. But if this work is done, they not going to care if we talked about basketball. Like, that's how this works. Stuff like that. And at one point, I get a call. And, of course, with my ADHD way, immediately I see the number and I'm like, I screwed up and I'm
Yep.
going to be fired.
Yep.
I'm already fired. The phone rang once. I'm fired.
Yep.
So I answer, and it's not that I'm fired. So I said, hey, how you doing? I wanted to talk to you. What are you doing? And I had interestingly, not knowing that one day this would be very relevant in my life, I had boy-girl twins
Okay. Yeah.
who I was working with together. And their SAT score, I don't even remember exactly, but let's say like their combined score had jumped like from one practice test to another, like 400 points, both of them. So he calls me like, what is this?
Hmm.
And I realized, looking back, like I told him at the time, I was like, hey, man, they're real cool kids. Da, 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 da. But we just would vibe. And I'd just be like, look, man, like, I already took the SAT. I tell kids this all the time. I'd be like, I already took the SAT. I don't know if you heard. I went to college. I'm good with it. It's your turn. So, like, don't feel like you helping me out.
Yeah.
I've said that to kids. I'd be like, do not feel like you are helping me out. I'm helping you out because you
Yeah.
got to take the SAT. You have to
Yeah.
take it. All right. So I realized that's what it was. That's why I was a good SAT tutor. That's
Hmm.
why I remember a kid telling me, and I hated doing grammar in school, so I definitely hated that I was going to have to teach it. And I
Hmm.
remember a girl coming to me later. I talked to her years later and told her like what an impact it had on me. She goes, I never understood grammar until you were my teacher.
Oh wow.
And I was like, it's not because of my understanding of grammar, it's because of how I coach.
Yes.
It's like just my natural inclination to be like, how can I help you be
Hmm.
the best you can be? And if things had gone according to plan, I think I still would have had that instinct,
Hmm.
but I definitely would have never developed like the systems and the thinking that we bring
Hmm.
to it now. So even earlier when you said, and I'll be quiet in a second, but earlier when you said that you were feeling overwhelmed,
Mm-hmm.
immediately I was like, oh, before we hang out, I got to talk to Ro about overwhelm, because
Mm-hmm.
I've taken the time to think and read about and listen to people talk about overwhelm. And what I
Mm-hmm.
came up with, overwhelm is the experience of a miscalibrated filter, by
Mm-hmm.
which I mean there's always, especially today, an infinite amount of information. I tell people we have most of human knowledge in our pocket,
Yeah.
right? It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we try to pay attention to too much information, and what might be too much today might be different than what was too much yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It's what your capacity is. But if you try to pay attention to too much at one time, that's when you experience overwhelm. Now, the
Mm-hmm.
other end of that is you try to focus on too little. That's boredom,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's the rest. That's that space. But we want to stay in between those, in the challenge space. And so I would say to you about overwhelm. You didn't ask me for advice, but I just want to share this.
Yeah.
Try to be, like, in a day-to-day way,
Mm-hmm.
aware of what your capability is today, like right now.
Yeah.
Because just because before this was what you have other stuff on your plate now, some of your capacity is being spoken for, because you have to figure out all the things you just talked about, figure out the logistics, never mind even the self-care part and the
Mm-hmm.
emotions, and right.
Yep.
So what might have felt like, it's annoying, but I got it, could start feeling like, oh my God, I'm gonna kill this person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I try to remind myself, like, almost reflexively, make it smaller. As I feel that feeling, I just know that's what it means. Make it
Mm-hmm.
smaller. And I promise you, there are days for me, especially because I'm a pack rat, where
Mm-hmm.
cleaning off a table is
Mm-hmm.
completely overwhelming. And I'm not kidding. And I know that might sound wild
Nope.
to some. I'm saying
Does not
I'm not
sound
saying cleaning my house.
no.
I'm
No,
saying
I don't.
clearing off a single table that's what I got. And
Yes.
I think when we respect that, we're a lot better off.
I think also when you embrace it too, you're like, yeah, I'm overwhelmed.
That's right.
Just overwhelmed. Like
That's
when
right.
you were talking about directing, like I also thought like you're you're great at it because you tapped into your wheelhouse. Like like it's just part of your wheelhouse to take charge.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you're a
Mm-hmm.
good coach, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, like I feel like I don't know, I think it's also this kind of in a way there's this not toxic positivity, but it's like, like we're not allowed to feel overwhelmed. Don't feel sad. Don't feel like it's like,
I know. I
look,
know. Yes.
sometimes sometimes it's okay to just go, you know what? Like I'm more okay with just getting it out and going. Sometimes you just gotta sit in your car and cry. That's self-care. Like
Yeah.
just gotta sit in my
Yeah.
car and I gotta cry. And
Yeah.
I try not to like I'm not for all these influencers that are crying on camera. Like I really find it funny when like, so you started crying, you set the camera up, you press play, like that kind of
And
thing.
then,
I'm like,
yeah, it's a little, yeah, it's
little,
a little tough. It was, right. No,
but
I'm with you. Some of those, I'm like, what are we
yeah,
doing here?
yeah,
What is
there's
this?
like one of somebody I follow. It's really funny. Her name's Benny, and she just like called
Oh, I
out.
know.
You know who
She's
she is?
very
Like,
funny. Yeah,
it
yeah,
was it was like a nurse. Like when you lose that patient, and they're like, so you lost a patient, you set up a camera, you cried in the hallway. There's probably another one that's going. Like, get to work. Like,
yeah. She's the one, right? And she's the one who's like, "Oh, my sister in Christ" or "my brother in Christ." She
yes,
says stuff like
yes.
that. Yeah, she's very
She'll
funny.
say,
Very, very funny.
a man of God. I think
Yeah,
she,
yes, 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 yes. A
yeah,
man of God. Yes, she said
very funny.
those are. I mean, she cracks me. No, but yeah, that's a whole thing. But the point you're making, I think, should get lost in this, which is it's so important to feel what you're feeling. I was on
Hmm.
a Threads thread, and
Yeah.
it was really fascinating because it was a black man, and he basically said like, "Hey, I just went through a breakup, or I just got dumped." However he phrased it, how do y'all brothers like get through this?
Hmm.
And guys really stepped up.
I
Like
love that.
it was. I found it inspiring. And I really took my time and read. People were thoughtful, and people like said really funny things. Like one guy was even like, "Hey, try to avoid the hoe phase. It's not really gonna help." Like I just thought like that's like, all right, so we're really talking about it now. This is not like, oh, I'm opening up my self-help book and like go to chapter 3. It's like, no, let me help you understand something. You think this is gonna fill the hole? All you do is make a mess of your life, and somebody's gonna slash your tires. Skip
Yeah.
that part.
Yeah.
Skip the slash tires. Like it was just great. Like it was fantastic. Like I was so happy with this conversation. So, but one guy said a thing that like stopped me in my tracks because it put very simply something that I've spent really these last 5 years getting back like fully in touch with, or more in touch with. He said feelings are meant to be felt.
Hmm. And something I heard in Alan, feelings are not facts.
That
So
too. That
you
too. And I
feel the
think if we
feeling.
can, yeah, that's what I feel right now. It doesn't mean I'm going to be in a rage for the rest of my life.
No?
It doesn't mean I'm going to be ready to cry from sadness for the rest of my life. But
Yeah,
right now,
yeah. That's how
that's
it's
what it
feeling.
is.
That's how it's feeling. And with the whole like when it comes down to like just I mean, there's a lot of things that you were saying that I was like, oh yeah, but then my ADD kicked in and I was like, oh, I forgot everything. But like that's another form of like just write
Yeah.
it down. Oh, I can't write it down. I'm on my phone. Okay. Okay. But
Yeah.
honestly, when we think about it, like I th I think with a lot of like, look, we're all just trying, I don't know, figure out something. Like there's always been a pursuit of happiness. There's always been a pursuit of
Right.
this. There's always been a pursuit. Um, there's been different people have different struggles. There's people that deny people's struggles. Like, when I don't want
Mm-hmm.
to get into too racial, but like when what so like I've been sharing a lot of like I don't know what the account is, but I've been sharing a lot of like history points, but
Mm.
like real history points that people don't want to talk about because me being a white person, I know white people are trying to suppress history, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think um I don't think that there's any healing that can happen when you're trying to deny
Right.
what the history of this country is or of the world, or and I'm tired of hearing people, well, this group was marginal. I know, but
Right.
we're,
But
we're,
right.
we're denying, we're trying to deny or stuff down. That's why I'm not a fan of stuffing feelings, because what if it's okay if we just say, hey, white people did some atrocious things. Why don't we work on healing? You know why? Because everybody goes, well, then there's reparations and we have to pay. We always go to money because money is something that we focus on because if we don't have
Mm.
money, we're not okay. Nobody's telling you have to seek your life savings and give it to the
Right.
person, like
Right.
we're not, that's not a real solution. We're talking about why can't we just admit it and heal from it?
Yeah.
You know, why can't we just say, hey, and look, do I know what my, you know, relatives in the past, but I know that it's okay to say, yes, there were atrocities and people are still suffering from it. And people are still oppressed from it. And it's a real thing.
Right.
That
Yeah.
that's a worldly like, but that's where my brain goes like, oh my God, now we gotta take that on for the world and that. Yeah, but I don't I Orlando, I'm trying to figure out if I have to go to the strawberry field for our next class trip, and when are we going to reschedule the trip that we had to the wildlife reservation because it was raining and cold that day? But we haven't, you know what I mean? Like, what do,
Yeah.
how are
Yeah.
we? And then even just staying in the moment, right? So like in Al-Anon, like you got to keep. Where's your butt? If it's in the seat, that's where your head has to be. Your head and
Yeah.
butt have to be in the same room.
Yeah. I like
And
that. I like that way of saying it. That's great.
like I've got to like, and also, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I personally call it a higher power. I don't, I believe I go to Catholic, but I don't practice that. But when I
Right.
talk about a thing greater, a being greater than myself, like there is something greater than me.
Mm-hmm.
And they
Mm-hmm.
always say in, I don't know, and they go, God's will is what's happening right now. So what's
Mm.
happening right now is what's happening. And can you just stay in today? You might, I don't know if you've heard this, like when you have one foot in the past and one foot
Mhm.
in the future, you're pissing on the present. I don't know if it's said that way.
That's great. Let's just pause for a moment. And this is why when I found stand-up comedy, I was like, these are my people. Because that was just sitting in your head waiting to go. Like, that's amazing. That's it's so profound and profane at the same time. I don't know if I told you I wanted to have a comedy album. That was one of my things when I did stand up. I was like, I want to have a comedy album that's called Profane and Profound.
Yeah.
And that joke, that description right there is like the poster child. That is great. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Pissing
That's
on the present. That's
you got.
love it.
We should probably think about like a podcast called Profane and Profound or
I mean,
Relationships Life. My life too. That's my life. Like, yeah, it's
that's
that's
great.
why I
That
have a
is
hard
great.
time with cursing. But like, really, like when you tell people, like watching those Buddhist monks walk, they're just walking
Yeah,
for.
I know.
That's it. They've got a social media person, obviously, because we are in that technology world. But
Yeah.
when I said they're just walking, they're walking, and not they're just walking, but they're in the
Right.
moment. Like
Right.
they stay in the moment. We have to all stay in the moment. Well, one of the problems I think we face as a society is you stay in the
Mm,
moment, then you open up your phone, boom, the files, boom, this,
I know.
boom,
I
that,
know.
boom, and then like, hey, can you donate $5? Hey,
I
I'm
know.
losing everything. I need money, guys. Ugh. Then you got like I get caught up in the posts. Oh, then fix your life. Oh my God, fix yours. But and then now I mean, when I tell you the amount on my algorithm of like, you've got to manifest money, you've got to believe it, and then I've got
Oh,
another thing that's
I
like,
can't do the manifesting. Leave
yeah,
me alone, would you?
you can't manifest if you don't believe, and
Uh,
your spiritual insight believes about lack because you know you're not rich, and but I'm like, Jesus
yeah. No, I'm not
Christ,
doing this. I'm not doing this.
and
You're
why am
not
I
gonna make
sending?
this my fault. We're
And by
not
the
doing
way,
that.
why am I sending myself all these reels? I'm like, hey, did my bank account go up by $1 billion like it said I would if I just shared this reel? No, it didn't. No, it's in spiritual healing 1, 2, 3. It did not. So,
Spiritual
what,
healing. 1, 2, 3.
you know what I mean? Like,
It's
I,
so true.
I just, but I understand why I get caught up. Look, and if that's what I get caught up in, that's what I get caught. My
Yeah.
algorithm is literally like recipes that are under 5 minutes, decorating cookies, and
That's funny.
can you, manifest your true dream career? Like,
Right. Right.
so I'm not saying like sometimes we do have to take a second to either zone out for play a little game on our phone, get lost in a moment for a second. Uh,
Yeah.
but,
Oh, of course.
but we can also like honestly like I look at it self-care because I think we get caught up in and we took this is kind of that song that you wrote is constantly hustling, constantly producing, constantly coming out with something, and it's all tied to our worth.
Yes.
And I'm the first one to tell you, like I said it before. I had a moment the other day and I was like, you didn't earn enough, you didn't do enough, you
Mm,
didn't do everything you should have done, and you are not hustling. And you know what? A lot of that stuff comes from years ago when I started stand up, and Lisa was that person. She's like,
yeah.
"Oh, you didn't get that because you didn't want it enough." And you're like,
Yeah.
what do I got
That's
to do?
crazy.
What do I,
Yeah.
so when I say it's a work in progress
Yep.
to constantly reprogram that, how about you existing is just enough?
Yeah.
How about you just being a kind human being? Did you not honk at anybody today? I'm proud of you, Ro. Did you
Right.
not, did you not spiral down into a deep, dark depression? I'm proud of you. Did,
Oh, also though, I'm sorry. Yeah.
no, no, go for it. Go. Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say. Also though, we are. You know what I mean? And I know that may sound, but like, I know exactly what you mean about the doing.
Hmm.
And I kind of have to, because it's funny. I put all this investment in the doing,
Hmm.
but then I accomplish things, and I don't enjoy that either. And,
But
and I'm saying this in the present tense because I've been doing a lot of work. So this isn't. This is actually me speaking on where I was more so than where I am right now.
yes.
But it's like okay, so all that matters is the doing, but then when you do, that doesn't count. So what are we doing here? And for me, that helped me. That was one of the ways I was able to deal with my what I call the critic, which is
Mhm.
not the most original, but it's just that for me. And it's a whole long thing. It's partially my mother's voice. My mother was a lovely lady, but she definitely was tough. And she definitely was demanding it. Like she knew how high my performance could be,
Yes.
and she was very willing to share with me when she didn't feel I was reaching that level. Which is great, right? Like we want, right? But also like what I took from that is if I can all I have to do is be perfect and the best at everything, and then everything will be fine.
Yeah, why not? That doesn't sound
Yeah,
unreasonable.
yeah, sure. So then you end up in therapy
Yeah,
with a 5-year journey that you're writing a solo show about. That's how that goes.
yeah. And you have some, yeah,
Because
you have some catchy beats, you know?
I'm like, I'm gonna tell you, we gotta get off, but like just so you like to show like the level of this, like you're not there stuff that I had to work on.
Hmm.
So I played high school basketball. I I was not a great basketball player. So let's knock it off. But I mean, I can make a high school team. You know what I mean? I can play with my buddies, but relax, relax, right? So I'm watching The Last Dance, a documentary about the Bulls run and blah blah blah. And there's a clip. I may have even told you this at some point, but there's a clip of was it Muggsy Bogues? It must have been Muggsy Bogues.
Hmm.
So Muggsy Bogues was, I want to say, 5'3", played in the
Hmm.
NBA, which is obviously like unbelievable, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But what the critic took from that, as I'm sitting over the holidays in my in-laws' basement next to my wife, it's all very cozy. The critic says to me in the midst of this lovely scene, "You're 5'9". He's 5'3". Why didn't you make the NBA? This is a real moment I had in life, bro. Bro. There's a voice that was running around inside my head that wanted me to understand that I'm a loser
Yeah.
because at 5'9", I didn't make it to the NBA. Obviously, it was possible, and it was about me not working hard enough as an
Yeah.
athlete, because that's reasonable.
Yeah.
This is my real life. Like, this is when people deal with me, and they're like, "Wow, like he's got a short fuse." I'm like, "Short fuse? If you knew what I was putting up with
Yeah.
before I even deal with you lunatics, you have no idea what's going on in here. This is a catastrophe." I'm like, this is like a lunchroom scene, like when the movie about the teacher who shows up and teaches the kids to love themselves. My insides were like the opening lunchroom scene of that movie. That's what it was. Like my 8-year-olds throwing lasagna at the 17-year-old. Like, it's just chaos.
Yeah.
And I think
Well,
sometimes what we can do is like get that under control. Like that, if we can just get that, like, settle down, guys.
well, that's like the light, right? Like,
Yeah,
we're gonna wrap it up, but I will say this
yeah.
is why you and I are parallel because as I was watching Nikki Glazer host
Oh
the
no, don't do that.
hosting the Golden Globes, right? I
Yeah,
was
she
like,
was great, but yeah,
she was great, but I was like, oh my god, I'm so that was supposed to
I
be
know,
me.
I
Like,
know, I know, I know, I know, I know. And we both know enough comics that it's gonna happen. Like you can see your people. I'm like, really on the Daily Show? Really? I did better political stuff than someone. I'm being like I'm not, but you know what I'm saying.
yeah,
But
I
it's all insane. Like it's like, what are you? Her being there, you're not in that life. Like that's her life.
like,
You're in your life.
but that's the same thought of like,
I
God,
know. I
how'd
know.
you miss the NBA?
How'd
How'd
you
you
screw this up? How'd you screw this up, Orlando?
you screwed this up? Look at your life. Look at your life. You got your kids.
I know.
You know, yeah.
I know. It's great. But I think it's so important that I want to have more of this conversation.
Yeah. because I feel like I can't think that you and I are alone in this thought.
No, but
I
it
I know that it's a thought for people. Like it's the Al Bundys. Remember, I scored four
yes for
touchdowns in one
touchdowns
game. Like it's the constant like
because you're like, what is this life? This is not. I don't know what this is,
yeah.
but but it's your life. Like even
But
if it's a catastrophe, even if I did end up behind that dumpster, at some moment I have to be behind that dumpster and say, this is my life.
it's
Like
my life.
I'm a guy behind the dumpster.
Yeah,
That's okay. Now what?
yeah, it's
It
my
doesn't
life.
matter if you're on top of the world or you're behind that dumpster.
It's your
You're
life.
gonna do your best work if
Hmm.
you go, this is my life.
It's my life. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it, Ro. This is our life. We're gonna wrap it up because we've gone the hour. But no, I'm glad, and I feel like we found an important part of our
Yeah.
conversation.
Very much so.
I think so. So anyhow, until next time, make sure that you're liking, make sure that you're subscribing,
Yeah.
make sure that you're sharing with a friend. I mean, come on, don't have us bearing our lunatic, psychopathic souls for nothing. You
But
know,
nothing. Come on.
get it out there. Let's
Get
let's
it
let's let
out.
everybody know.
Yeah.
You hear that algorithm? Get it together.
We're for your page, okay? FYP.
Here we go.